For 18 years, Heartbeat owned Sunday evenings in Britain. At its peak, over 15 million people tuned in every week. But behind that warm, nostalgic glow, there were secrets the producers never wanted you to know. Fact 1.
Some paints and stuff in this beautiful kind of countryside. So in theory it had all the right ingredients. And luckily it's paid off.
Heartbeat was conceived as a vehicle for Nick Berry, best known for playing Simon Wicks in EastEnders. But Nick wasn't just cast for his acting, he'd had a #1 single in 1986, and the producers wanted a star with genuine musical appeal. When the show launched in 1992, Nick recorded the Buddy Holly theme tune, which shot to #2 in the charts. He later admitted he was initially horrified at the idea, fearing it would make him look like a gimmick, but the producers persuaded him, and it became one of the most recognisable TV themes of the decade. It also made him one of the very few lead actors in British television history whose chart success was directly tied to the launch of a primetime drama.
North, hoping for a cushy number.
No, Sergeant. Just to get away from people who can't tell the difference between coppers and villains.
Fact 2.
Listen, I've got to get to the village. Bottom road's closed. I've every right to use this road.
I warned you! Get off my land!
Every exterior scene of the fictional Aidensfield was filmed in the real North Yorkshire village of Gothland. The show became so popular that Gothland was transformed into a tourist hotspot almost overnight, with hundreds of thousands of visitors flooding in each year to see the Aidensfield Arms, the garage, and the police station for themselves. You might also recognise the village railway station. It doubled as Hogsmeade Station in the Harry Potter films, giving Gothland a second life entirely. Local businesses thrived. Tea rooms opened and souvenir shops selling Heartbeat memorabilia sprang up on every corner. Some residents joked that Gothland had ceased to exist in the public imagination and had simply become Aidensfield forever.
Just popping down to the village, you'll see when he gets back. It's the next farm but one, a couple of miles up the hill, all right?
Fact 3.
Well, are you waiting for him to come in and dust the cells? Go out there and catch him.
When Heartbeat launched on 10th April 1992, nobody expected a runaway hit. But Series 1 averaged 14.5 million viewers and was regularly in the top 5 programmes across all British channels, not just ITV. At its peak, individual episodes pulled in over 15 million, roughly 1 in 4 people in the entire country watching the same show at the same time every Sunday evening. Even more remarkably, those numbers held up for years. In 2001, the show was still finishing 6th in the national ratings with nearly 14 million viewers, a full 9 years after it first aired. It also built huge audiences in Australia, New Zealand and Canada, where the nostalgic setting found devoted fans who had never set foot in Yorkshire.
Division are threatening a permanent CID presence here until this chap's caught, and we don't want that.
Fact 4.
You know, this is what I fought against in Spain and during the last war. The suppression of free speech, police brutality.
The show is based on the constable novels written by real-life Yorkshire policeman Peter N. Walker, published under the pen name Nicholas Rea. Walker drew directly from his own experiences policing the North Yorkshire moors in the 1960s and was employed as a series consultant throughout the show's run. The character of PC Nick Rowan was loosely based on Walker himself, though the name and backstory were changed. Walker once said he was quietly amused that television had made his alter ego considerably more handsome than he felt he deserved.
Who gave you permission to camp on Lord Ashfordley's field?
The gamekeeper.
John Rawlings?
Didn't give us a name.
Fact 5.
But she wasn't on this demo.
Of course not. That's quite a woman you got there, Rowan. She caught that robber for you, knocked him off his bike.
The show launched in 1992, set in 1964. The problem was it kept making new episodes year after year without ever moving the timeline forward. By 2003, it was still supposedly the mid-60s, despite having aired for over a decade. characters aged at a different rate to the rest of the world, fashions occasionally crept in from the wrong era, and continuity quietly unravelled for anyone paying close attention. Critics gleefully pointed it out, but the vast majority of viewers didn't seem to mind in the slightest. One reviewer memorably wrote that Aidensfield existed in its own time bubble, a place where Harold Wilson would apparently be Prime Minister forever. Far from damaging the show, this suspended reality seemed to be part of its comfort and appeal.
Gotta get a hospital, Dunk. It's hurting like mad. And my back.
You can't, I told you. Cops will be swarming around all the hospitals.
Fact 6.
Well, this feud over the girl gives him the perfect motive. Charge him, Rowan.
The emotional core of the early series was the marriage between PC Nick Rowan and his doctor wife Kate. But Kate was diagnosed with leukemia during the final stages of her pregnancy and died, just 6 weeks after giving birth, and Nick renamed their daughter Katie in her honour. ITV received thousands of letters from grief-stricken viewers, remarkable for a show that had never set out to be a tearjerker. The actress Niamh Cusack left by her own choice, but the producers handled her exit with real sensitivity. Nick Berry later described filming those final scenes as some of the hardest days of his career, and said the response from viewers moved him deeply.
I know he is ill, but he's seriously ill, Mrs. Laszlo. I need to get him to hospital immediately. No.
Fact 7.
Isn't enough to me. We'll have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Super, can we go?
Doctor's word is final.
I know that, Constable.
Through 18 years of constant cast changes, just 2 actors remained for the entire run: Derek Fowles as Sergeant Oscar Blaketon and William Simons as PC Alf Ventris. Fowles, best known before Heartbeat as Bernard in Yes Minister, brought a gravitas that anchored every new cast around him. His grumpy, principled Blaketon was a rock the show could always lean on. Simons played Ventris with such understated warmth that fans often said he was the character they'd most like to have as a neighbour. When the show finally ended in 2010, both men were saying goodbye to roles they had lived with for nearly 2 decades, and the emotion in those final scenes was entirely real.
Anyway, that don't make sense. The family's loaded.
I know it doesn't make sense, but he was certainly around at the relevant time.
Fact 8.
That'll only work if he's leading the horse, not if somebody else is riding it.
Yeah, in any case, he's hardly likely to take it down the pub.
In early episodes, the Aidensfield Arms landlord would mention that the bar fire had never been allowed to go out since the pub opened. It was based on the real Saltersgate Inn nearby, where a fire allegedly burned for over 200 years, supposedly because a publican had buried a customs officer beneath the fireplace and lit a fire to hide the body. The inn closed in 2013, but for decades it had been a pilgrimage destination for Heartbeat fans. It was exactly the kind of quietly unsettling local legend the show loved to weave into its gentle world.
My uncle always used to say you can expect a warm welcome at the Aidensfield Arms.
Well, you've had your warm welcome, haven't you?
Fact 9.
Heavy things have made. One good downpour and we'll not be able to walk down that lane at all.
I take it you're talking about the fairground tracks?
In 2003, a single Heartbeat episode introduced the staff of a fictional Yorkshire hospital called The Royal. It proved so popular that ITV commissioned a full series which ran independently for 8 years until 2011. Several Heartbeat characters crossed over, and the 2 shows shared the same nostalgic 1960s world. At its peak, The Royal was pulling in over 7 million viewers, meaning ITV essentially owned the entire Sunday evening with 2 connected shows running back to back. It remains one of the most successful spin-offs in British television history, and a feat of scheduling the network has never quite managed to repeat since.
You know, really, Constable, it oughtn't to be allowed.
Well, it's hardly a police matter. I'm afraid there's not much I can do.
Fact 10.
I hope they put him away for a long time. You can't just walk off with other people's children. He deserves life for what he's put us through.
In June 2001, ITV announced cutbacks to long-running dramas, naming Heartbeat alongside London's Burning as shows potentially facing the axe. A spokesman admitted the temptation was simply to cancel old shows and commission something new. But with 12 million viewers still tuning in every week, cancellation was almost unthinkable, and the executives knew it. The show survived, saved ironically by the very thing critics had always mocked, its formulaic comfort blanket reliability. ITV eventually acknowledged that replacing a show with that kind of loyal, devoted audience was far riskier than simply leaving it on air. It was a close call that most fans never knew about.
Weeks to last a lifetime.
If you've enough for us to stick in this dump another couple of nights, you've enough for us to have a bit of fun the while.
Fact 11.
So what's going to happen?
Doused.
No, I mean round here.
Well, it's not a good time to be a stray dog, George.
Before winning the Strictly Come Dancing Glitterball in 2017, Joe McFadden played PC Joe Mason in Heartbeat's final 3 series. After the show ended, he moved to Casualty and Holby City, before his dancing career made him a household name all over again. McFadden has spoken warmly about his time in Yorkshire and admitted the Strictly win came as a genuine shock. He'd entered the competition with no dance experience and expected to be eliminated in the first few weeks. Going from Aidensfield Village Bobby to ballroom champion is not a path many actors have managed.
I'm just going outside to test my new vehicle. I may be away for some time.
Fact 12.
For the damage to my good name as the chairman of the Aidensfield Pigeon Fanciers by your scurrilous and unfounded allegations against me.
For many fans, Claude Jeremiah Greengrass, the scruffy, scheming rogue played by Bill Maynard, was the true heart of the show. His constant battles with the local constables, his dodgy schemes and his gruff warmth made him irreplaceable. When Maynard left in 2000 after 8 series, the show tried several replacement characters but never found one that satisfied audiences the same way. His dog Alfred became almost as beloved as the character himself. Maynard later said Greengrass was the role he was proudest of in a career stretching back to the 1950s. He passed away in 2018 at the age of 82, and to this day many fans say the show was never quite the same after he left.
Burley Moor? How many times you want telling? I should be in bed, not galloping about on Burley Moor.
Fact 13.
Mr. Owen, it's me dad.
What's wrong?
Holly hasn't been back for his tea.
We probably want some time alone.
When ITV Encore began rebroadcasting old episodes from 2015, entire scenes were quietly removed to fit the channel's longer commercial breaks. A fan favourite scene from Series 7, where PC Bradley and Bernie Scripps herd cows into a shed, was cut completely. Dedicated fans who had the originals on DVD discovered the edits and complained bitterly online. The cruelest irony was that those gentle, unhurried scenes were exactly what people loved most about Heartbeat. Cutting the quiet moments from a show built entirely on quiet moments rather missed the point.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The foot and mouth at Sam Carver's place, that's what I'm talking about. The foot and mouth, he's had up there for the last 10 days.
Fact 14.
Majesty's sake, I must get into Davenport Manor as soon as possible. Your mission is to get me the keys.
In Series 18, 2 episodes were filmed on location in Queensland, Australia, a remarkable departure for a show defined entirely by the North Yorkshire moors. It reflected how popular Heartbeat had become in Australia over the years. Australian fans were thrilled, but British purists felt the show had finally wandered too far from home. For many, those episodes signalled the end was near. Taking a show built on its very specific sense of place to the other side of the world felt like saying goodbye.
No, sorry. But I've not been around much. Sir Adrian's due back at the weekend and I'm behind with the spring clean.
I'd like to check your outbuildings if I may.
Fact 15.
I've taken her for a nice long walk, and I bought her a big marrowbone from the butcher.
Find the owner. She was howling all night and the neighbours are complaining.
The original plan was for Heartbeat to run until at least Series 20. The producer said so publicly. But in March 2009, after a meeting with ITV executives, the cast themselves announced the show had been axed. ITV confirmed the cancellation in June 2010, saying the show had been an important part of the television landscape, but that its time had come. The 372nd and final episode aired on the 12th of September 2010, and for millions of British viewers, Sunday evenings were never quite the same again. In the years since, rumours of a revival or a one-off special have surfaced occasionally, but nothing has ever materialised. Perhaps some shows are simply best left exactly as they were. And Heartbeat, in all its gentle, unhurried, gloriously nostalgic glory, is one.